The conference room was silent. 27 world leaders sat around the table, their faces showing worry and fear. On the screen in front of them, an alien face stared back. The creature had 4 eyes, dark blue skin, and spoke with a voice that sounded like metal scraping against stone. "You have 48 hours, the alien said. "Surrender your governments. Accept imperial rule, or we will remove you by force." The screen went black. Nobody spoke for a long moment. Finally, the Secretary General stood up. Her name was Minji, and she had led the United Earth Council for 3 years. She was 52 years old with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many hard choices. "We need to vote," Minji said quietly. "The Galactic Dominion Empire wants our answer. Do we surrender or do we fight?" "Fight with what?" someone asked.
"They have weapons we cannot match."
"Their ships can destroy cities from space. They have been conquering planets for thousands of years." "We have nuclear weapons," another leader said. "We have armies." "They have shields that stop nuclear weapons," Minji said. "Their soldiers are genetically engineered to be stronger and faster than us. If we fight them directly, we will lose. So we surrender." The question came from an older man, his voice angry. "We give up our freedom without even trying?" Minji looked around the room. She saw fear, but she also saw determination. These people had been elected to protect their nations. They would not give up easily. "I did not say we surrender," Minji replied. "I said we cannot fight them directly. There is a difference." She pressed a button on the table. A door opened and a man walked in. He was in his mid-30s, wearing a simple black tactical suit. His hair was short, his face calm. He moved quietly like a shadow. His name was Taiyang. "This is Operative Taiyang," Minji said. "He works for Earth Defense Intelligence. For the past 10 years, he has been preparing for this exact situation." Taiyang stood at the end of the table. He did not smile. He did not look nervous. He simply waited. "Explain the Shadow Protocol," Minji said. Taiyang nodded. "The Empire expects us to fight like they do. They expect armies facing armies, fleets facing fleets, battles where the strongest side wins." He paused. "We will not give them that fight." "What do you mean?" a leader asked. "We will fight from the shadows," Taiyang said. "We will use deception, traps, guerrilla warfare. We will make them afraid to walk in the dark. We will turn their strength against them." "That sounds like terrorism," someone said. "No," Taiyang replied, his voice steady. "Terrorism targets innocent people to create fear. We will target only their military forces, but we will not fight fair. Fair fights are for people who can afford to lose." Minji looked around the room again. "The Empire is sending their best killers. They are called the Voidborn. According to our intelligence, they have never failed a mission. They will come here to kill us, the leaders of Earth. They think this will break our resistance." "How many are coming?" someone asked. 5, Taiyang said. "A death squad. Each one has killed hundreds. They are genetically engineered, stronger, faster. Some can turn invisible. One can read minds." The room erupted in worried voices. Minji raised her hand for silence. "We vote now," she said. "Do we surrender? Or do we activate the Shadow Protocol and fight?" Every hand went up to fight. Not a single person voted to surrender. Minji nodded. She looked at Taiyang. "You have authorization. Do whatever you need to do." Taiyang bowed slightly and left the room. 3 days later, a massive ship appeared in Earth's orbit. It was black, shaped like a blade, and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. This was the Inevitability, the Voidborn's stealth ship. Inside the ship, 5 creatures stood in a circle. Their leader was called Executrix Valrith. She was 8 feet tall with armor that seemed fused to her skin. Her 4 arms each held a different weapon. Her eyes glowed red in the darkness. "This will be simple," Valrith said to her team. "Humans are weak, primitive. They have only been in space for 100 years. They know nothing of real war. Should we expect resistance?" asked Corvin, her second in command. He was tall and thin with skin that could change color to match his surroundings. "Perhaps some," Valrith said, "but nothing we cannot handle. We have ended 17 rebellions. We have killed the leaders of 43 worlds. Humans will be no different." The third member of the team was Thixus, a massive creature covered in thick armor. He carried weapons that could destroy buildings. "I hope they fight," he growled. "I am tired of easy kills." The fourth member was Sylara, who looked almost human except for her completely white eyes. She could read thoughts and plant ideas in people's minds. "I sense fear from the planet," she said. "Good. Fear makes them predictable." Our intelligence says the Earth leaders are hiding in underground bunkers, Valreth said. We know the locations. We will strike fast. They will be dead within 48 hours. Corvin studied the data on his screen. Something felt wrong, but he could not identify what. These bunkers, he said slowly. The locations seem too easy to find. They are primitives, Valreth said dismissively. They do not know how to hide from our sensors. Now prepare for descent. We land in 2 hours. Far below, in a hidden facility deep underground, Taeyang watched the alien ship on his screen. Beside him stood Captain Hyun, a young military officer with sharp eyes and a skeptical expression. She was 29 and had been assigned to work with Taeyang, though she did not trust his methods. They are coming, Hyun said. Shouldn't we evacuate the bunkers? They are already empty, Taeyang replied calmly. The bunker locations we leaked are decoys, holograms and remote-controlled dummies. The real leaders are safe in locations the aliens do not know about. You are using our leaders as bait, Hyun said, her voice hard. I am using fake leaders as bait, Taeyang corrected. The real ones are safe. The aliens will waste time and resources attacking empty buildings. And then what? Taeyang's face remained expressionless. Then I will introduce them to human warfare. They think they are the hunters. I will teach them what it means to be prey. Dr. Soo-hyun entered the room. He was a scientist, 47 years old, who studied alien biology. I have analyzed the data on the Voidborn, he said. They are dangerous, but they have one major weakness. What weakness? Hyun asked. Arrogance, Soo-hyun said. They have won for so long that they cannot imagine losing. They fight with honor and expect their enemies to do the same. They do not know how to handle an enemy who refuses to play by their rules. Taeyang nodded slowly. Good. Arrogance is a weapon we can use. On the screen, they watched as 5 pods launched from the alien ship. The Voidborn were coming to Earth. The pods entered the atmosphere, leaving trails of fire across the night sky. Hyun felt her heart beating faster. Are you sure this will work? Taeyang checked his equipment. He strapped weapons to his body, hidden under his dark clothing. It has to work, he said quietly. Because if it doesn't, Earth falls. He walked toward the exit. At the door, he paused and looked back. Tell Director Minji that the Shadow Protocol is now active. From this moment, the aliens are not safe anywhere on this planet. The door closed behind him and Taeyang disappeared into the darkness. The hunt had begun. The snow fell softly over Geneva. The city was quiet, evacuated. The Swiss government had ordered everyone to leave 3 days ago. Now the streets were empty, the buildings dark. Only the wind made any sound. Beneath the city, in what appeared to be a secure bunker, lights still burned. Security cameras showed guards at their posts. Through the reinforced windows, people could be seen moving in the corridors. Important-looking people in expensive suits. Thixis landed first. The massive alien crashed through the roof of a nearby building, his armor absorbing the impact. He stood up, his weapons charging with blue energy. The bunker is 200 meters below, he growled into his communicator. I will make an entrance. Wait for us, Valreth ordered, but Thixis was already moving. The huge creature loved destruction too much to be patient. Thixis aimed his weapon at the ground and fired. The beam cut through concrete and steel like they were paper. Within minutes, he had created a hole that led down to the bunker. Corvin appeared beside Valreth, his body shimmering as he turned visible again. Something feels wrong, he said quietly. Everything is proceeding as planned, Valreth replied. She jumped into the hole Thixis had created. The others followed. They landed in a corridor. Alarm systems blared. Security doors began to close, but Thixis destroyed them with his weapons. The Voidborn moved forward like a force of nature, unstoppable. Guards appeared and opened fire. Human bullets bounced off Voidborn armor. Valreth cut through them with her energy blades. Within seconds, the guards lay dead on the floor. The main chamber is ahead, Silera said, reading the thoughts of a dying guard. 27 humans. The Earth leaders. They are trying to escape through a back exit. Block all exits, Valreth commanded. I want them alive long enough to broadcast their surrender. They breached the main chamber door. Inside, people in suits ran in panic. Valreth smiled. Humans. So predictable. Corvin was the first to notice. Wait, something is wrong. They are not breathing. Valreth looked closer. The running figures moved strangely, their movements too smooth, too perfect. She fired her weapon at one of them. The beam passed through the figure without resistance. Holograms, Corvin said. All of them. This is a trap. A voice came from hidden speakers. It was calm, almost friendly. Welcome to Earth. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Valreth spun around, trying to locate the source. Who are you? My name is Taiyang, the voice replied. I am the one who will teach you a lesson. You came here to hunt our leaders, but you forgot something important. What did we forget? Valreth demanded. You forgot to ask why it was so easy to find this place. You forgot that humans do not fight fair, and you forgot that the best traps look like opportunities. Corvin's eyes widened. Explosive charges. I can smell them. They are in the walls. Run, Valreth ordered. The explosion was massive. Taiyang had placed shaped charges throughout the bunker, designed to direct the blast inward. The entire structure collapsed. Fire and smoke filled the underground chambers. The Voidborn survived. Their armor protected them from the worst of the blast. But when they climbed out of the rubble, they were hurt. Thix's had burns across his body. Valreth's armor was cracked. Even Corvin, who had tried to turn invisible and escape, had wounds. First blood, Corvin said quietly. In 300 years, no one has wounded us. And a human just did it in the first hour. Valreth's eyes burned with rage. Find him. Use every sensor. Every tracking device. I want this human dead. Silara closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind. She searched for thoughts, for any mental signature that might be Taiyang. But she found nothing. Wherever he was, he had training that blocked telepathy. I cannot sense him, Silara said, frustrated. His mind is shielded somehow. 10 miles away, Taiyang watched through a satellite feed. He was in a van, surrounded by computer equipment. Beside him, Agent Jiwan worked on the keyboards. She was his technical support, a genius with computers and communications. The aliens survived, Jiwan said, but they are hurt. The plan worked. Phase 1 complete, Taiyang said. He started the van's engine. Now we move to the next location. Where are we going? Paris. I left clues that our leaders are hiding there. They will follow. Back at Earth Defense Command, Captain Hyun stood in front of a large screen. She was with Director Minji and Commander Do-hyun, the leader of Earth's military forces. They had all watched the explosion. It worked, Hyun said, surprise in her voice.
The aliens fell for the trap, Do-hyun frowned.
He was an old soldier, traditional in his thinking. This is not how warriors fight. Where is the honor in deception? Honor is a luxury, Minji said quietly. We cannot afford it. The aliens have better weapons, better armor, better everything. If we fight them with honor, we die with honor. But we still die. The director is right, Hyun said, though it was hard for her to admit it. Taiyang's methods are effective. He hurt them. That is more than anyone has done in 300 years. Do-hyun looked at the screen, where satellite images showed the aliens searching the ruins. What happens when they realize we are not going to fight fair? When they stop being arrogant and start being careful? Then we adapt, Minji said. That is what humans do best. We adapt, we survive. We find ways to win even when we should lose. In Geneva, Valreth stood in the snow, her team around her. The city was silent except for the wind. For the first time in her long career, she felt something she had not felt in centuries. Doubt. This human, she said slowly.
He is different.
He does not fight like others. He fights like prey trying to survive, Thixis growled. Using tricks and traps. Coward tactics, Corvin shook his head. No. He fights like someone who knows he cannot win through strength. So he uses intelligence instead. This is not cowardice. This is strategy. Valreth looked at her second in command. You sound like you respect him. I respect any enemy who draws blood, Corvin replied. But respect does not mean mercy. We will find him, and we will kill him, Silara pointed north. I am sensing something. Fear, anger, human emotions, concentrated, many humans gathered together. Where? Valreth demanded. Paris, underground, perhaps another bunker. Valreth smiled coldly. Good. This time we will be more careful. Corvin, you will scout ahead invisibly. Check for traps before we enter. And if it is another decoy? Corvin asked. Then we keep searching, but eventually this human will make a mistake. Everyone does. And when he does, we will be waiting. The Voidborn lifted into the air, their armor's flight systems activated. They left Geneva behind, heading toward Paris. Behind them, the destroyed bunker smoked in the cold air. In his van, Taiyang watched them go. He allowed himself a small smile. They were learning, but not fast enough. He had prepared 20 decoy locations across Europe. Each one would waste their time. Each one would make them more frustrated, more angry. Angry enemies make mistakes. And mistakes could be exploited. How long can you keep this up? Jiwon asked as she drove. Running, setting traps. Eventually they will catch you. I do not need to run forever, Taeyang replied. I just need to run long enough for them to make the mistakes I need them to make. Every trap they fall for makes them doubt themselves. Every hour they waste searching makes them weaker. And then what? Taeyang checked his weapons. Then I stop running, and I start hunting. The van disappeared into the night, leaving no trace behind. 2 weeks had passed. The Voidborn had attacked 7 more locations, 7 more decoys. Each time they found only empty buildings or holograms. Each time Taeyang escaped before they could catch him. The chase had taken them across 3 continents, from Paris to Tokyo, from Tokyo to Cairo, from Cairo to Nairobi. And now they were in the African city, hunting through crowded streets where Taeyang had been seen. Corvin moved through the market invisible. People walked past him unaware that death was among them. He had learned to be patient. Humans were clever, but they were not perfect. Eventually, Taeyang would reveal himself. There, a man in dark clothes moving purposefully through the crowd. The right height, the right build. Corvin followed, staying invisible. The man turned into an alley. Corvin followed, faster now. This was it. Finally, he had found the human who had made fools of them. Corvin became visible and grabbed the man. But something was wrong. The man was too light, too soft. Corvin looked down and saw not a human, but a dummy dressed in clothes. A recording device attached to it spoke in Taeyang's voice. Looking for me. Corvin threw the dummy away and looked around. The alley was a trap. Walls closed in. Above him, nets fell. Below him, the ground opened. He fell into darkness. When Corvin hit the bottom, he found himself in a tunnel. It was dark and narrow. He heard sounds behind him. Footsteps, many of them. Lights turned on. Corvin saw he was surrounded by humans, not soldiers, ordinary people. Men and women from the city. They held simple weapons, guns, knives, homemade explosives. Resistance fighters, Corvin understood. These were humans who had volunteered to fight. They knew they would probably die, but they fought anyway. The humans attacked. Corvin was faster and stronger, but there were too many of them. They knew these tunnels. They appeared from hidden doors, fired, and disappeared again. Every corner held a new danger. Corvin fought his way through, killing many. But he was injured. His armor was damaged. By the time he reached the surface, he was exhausted. Valreth found him later, bleeding in an abandoned building.
What happened?
A trap, Corvin said. But not just a trap. The human has allies. Regular civilians willing to die to slow us down. Primitives with primitive weapons, Thixis said dismissively. They cannot hurt us. Look at me, Corvin said, showing his wounds. They did hurt me. Not because they are strong. Because they know this planet. They know every street, every building, every hiding place. We are the outsiders here. Valreth's communication device activated. A message appeared on the screen. It was from Taeyang. You are strong. You are fast. You are experienced. But this is my world. Every shadow could hide a trap. Every friend could be my ally. You cannot win here. Valreth crushed the device in her hand. We will win. We always win, but doubt had entered her mind. For the first time, she wondered if they had made a mistake coming to Earth. In space, aboard the Inevitability, the situation was getting worse. The ship's AI had detected something wrong. Files were corrupted. Systems were behaving strangely. Someone had hacked into the ship's network. How is this possible? The ship's captain demanded. Our security is the best in the galaxy. Someone is inside our system, a technician reported. They have been there for days. Stealing data. Learning our operations. Can you remove them? I am trying. But whoever did this is very skilled. They left traps in the code. If I make a mistake, the entire system could shut down. On Earth, in a hidden facility in Tokyo, Agent Jiwon smiled at her screens. She had been working for 3 days straight, breaking into the alien ship's computers. It had been difficult, but she had succeeded. I am inside, she told Taeyang through a secure channel. I have access to everything. Ship locations, communication logs, technical specifications. Good work, Taeyang replied. He was in Moscow now, setting up the next trap. Can you plant the virus? Not yet. They are looking for me in their system. If I try to plant it now, they will find it before it activates. I need a distraction. What kind of distraction? Something big. Something that takes all their attention. Like someone breaking into their ship. Taeyang was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I can do that. But I will need time to prepare. And I will need help getting to orbit. I will talk to Captain Hyun, Ji-won said. But Taeyang, that ship is full of aliens. Even if you get inside, you might not get out. I know, Taeyang said simply. But it needs to be done. At Earth Defense Command, Captain Hyun listened to the plan. She did not like it. You want to break into an alien warship in orbit? That is suicide. It is necessary, Taeyang said. He had returned to headquarters for the first time in 2 weeks. He looked tired, thinner, but his eyes were still focused. Their ship is their command center. It coordinates all their operations. If we can disrupt it, they become vulnerable. Director Minji joined the conversation. How will you get to the ship? We have a shuttle, Hyun said reluctantly. A prototype stealth design. It might be able to approach without being detected. Might? Minji asked. Nothing is certain, Taeyang said. But doing nothing is certain failure. The aliens are adapting. They are being more careful now. Soon they will stop falling for traps. We need to hit them before that happens. Commander Do-hyun entered the room. The old soldier looked at Taeyang with new respect. I was wrong about you, he said. I thought your methods were dishonorable. But you have hurt an enemy that no one else could hurt. You have given humanity a chance, thank you, Commander. But the fight is not over. I need your help. When I am on that ship, I need you to attack the aliens on the ground. Draw their attention. Make them think the real battle is happening down here. Do-hyun nodded. You will have it. My forces are ready. Dr. Soo-hyun brought in his research. I have studied the ship's design from the data Ji-won stole. The life support systems are here, the weapons here, the bridge here. But there is something else. A chamber deep inside the ship. The data calls it the coordination matrix, and what does it do? Taeyang asked. It is their AI. It monitors everything, tracks everything, coordinates all void-borne operations. Without it, they would have to operate independently. No shared information, no tactical coordination. Taeyang smiled for the first time in days. Then that is my target. Ji-won, can your virus disable it? If you can get me access to the coordination matrix directly, yes. The virus will upload and activate immediately. Their entire tactical network will crash. How long will you need? Minji asked. 30 seconds for the upload. 10 minutes for it to spread through their systems. After that, every void-born on Earth will lose their coordination. They will be isolated, vulnerable. Hyun looked at Taeyang. 30 seconds does not sound like much. But on an enemy ship surrounded by aliens, it will feel like forever. I have been in worse situations, Taeyang said, though he was not sure that was true. When do you launch? Minji asked. Tonight. While the aliens are focused on the ground. They will not expect an attack from space. Minji stood up. She walked to Taeyang and put a hand on his shoulder. You have done more than anyone could ask. If you do not come back, Earth will remember you. I will come back, Taeyang said. I have to. This war is not over yet. That night, a small shuttle left Earth. It was invisible to most sensors, built using stolen alien technology. Inside, Taeyang sat alone, checking his equipment one more time. Above him, the inevitability waited in orbit, dark and silent. Soon he would be inside that ship. Soon he would face the aliens in their own territory. He thought about the past 2 weeks. The running, the hiding, the constant fear of being caught, but also the small victories. Each trap that worked, each alien wounded, each day that Earth survived. The shuttle approached the alien ship. Taeyang took a deep breath. Time to take the fight to them, he whispered. The shuttle attached itself to the inevitability's hull like a parasite. Taeyang used a cutting tool to open a maintenance hatch. The metal was thick, designed to resist weapons. But it was not designed to resist someone with time and the right equipment. After 15 minutes, he was through. He pulled himself into the ship. Inside, everything was dark. The corridors were built for creatures larger than humans. The ceiling was high. The walls were covered in strange symbols. Taeyang moved carefully. According to the ship's layout that Ji-won had stolen, the coordination matrix was deep inside. He would have to travel through several decks to reach it. I am inside, he whispered into his communication device. No alarms yet. Copy that, Jiwan replied from Earth. The virus is ready. Get to the coordination matrix and plug in the device I gave you. Taeyang touched the small device in his pocket. It looked simple, but it contained Jiwan's most sophisticated work. A virus designed specifically for alien AI systems. He moved through the corridors like a ghost. Years of training had taught him how to move silently, how to avoid sensors, how to become invisible without alien technology. But the ship was not empty. He heard voices ahead, alien crew members. He pressed himself into a shadow and waited as 3 aliens passed. They were talking in their own language, unaware of the human hiding meters away. When they were gone, Taeyang continued. He reached a junction and checked his map. Left would take him toward the engines. Right would take him toward the coordination matrix. He went right. Suddenly alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The aliens had discovered his shuttle attached to the hull. Now they knew an intruder was aboard. They know you are here, Jiwan said urgently. You need to move fast. Taeyang started running. Behind him he heard heavy footsteps. Security forces were coming. He turned a corner and saw 3 aliens ahead blocking his path. They raised weapons. Taeyang threw a flashbang grenade. The explosion of light and sound disoriented the aliens. He ran past them, firing his weapon as he went. 2 aliens fell. The 3rd grabbed at him, but Taeyang was already gone. More aliens appeared. The ship's crew was mobilizing. Taeyang ducked into a side corridor, then another. He was trying to lose his pursuers, but there were too many of them. 2 decks to go, Jiwan said. There is a maintenance shaft ahead. You can climb down. It will be faster. Taeyang found the shaft and dropped inside. He slid down, using his hands and feet to control his descent. Above him, he heard aliens shouting. They were following. He reached the lower deck and kicked open a panel. He rolled out into another corridor. This one was darker, colder. He was getting close to the ship's core systems. The coordination matrix chamber was ahead, large doors sealed and guarded by automated defenses. Taeyang threw an EMP device. The electromagnetic pulse disabled the door's locks and the nearby weapon systems. He forced the doors open and entered. Inside was a massive chamber filled with glowing technology. In the center was the coordination matrix, a sphere of light and data, constantly shifting and changing. I found it, Taeyang said. Good. Find the access port. It should be on the left side. Taeyang circled the sphere until he found the port. He pulled out Jiwan's device and plugged it in. Immediately, the device began uploading the virus. Upload in progress, Jiwan said. 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds felt like 30 minutes. Taeyang watched the door, weapon ready. He could hear aliens getting closer. Their footsteps echoed through the corridors. 20 seconds, the door burst open. 3 aliens entered, weapons raised. But Taeyang was ready. He had positioned himself behind a console, using it for cover. He fired at them, forcing them back. 10 seconds, one of the aliens threw a grenade. Taeyang ran, diving behind another console as the explosion shook the chamber. Smoke filled the air. Upload complete. The virus is active. The coordination matrix flickered. Its light dimmed. Then it went dark entirely. Throughout the ship, systems began to fail. The aliens' tactical network crashed. But Taeyang was not done yet. More aliens were coming. He needed to escape. He grabbed the device and ran for the door. The aliens fired at him. One shot hit his shoulder. Pain exploded through his body, but he kept running. Taeyang, your vital signs are dropping. You are hurt. I know, he said through gritted teeth. Finding an exit. He ran through corridors, taking random turns, trying to lose his pursuers. Blood dripped from his shoulder. His vision was getting blurry, but he could not stop. Suddenly, someone grabbed him. Taeyang spun, weapon ready, but he stopped. It was Corvin, the Voidborn infiltrator. The alien stood in front of him, invisible to everyone else, but visible to Taeyang's thermal sensors. You, Corvin said. The Shadow Warrior. They stared at each other. Hunter and hunted. Enemy and enemy. But there was also something else. Respect. You came to our ship, Corvin said. You wounded us in our own home. That takes courage. Or madness. Both, Taeyang replied. They fought, not with weapons, but hand to hand. Corvin was stronger and faster. But Taeyang was desperate and skilled. They crashed through the corridor, trading blows. Corvin threw Taeyang against a wall. The human felt ribs crack, but he rolled aside as Corvin's blade struck where his head had been. Taeyang kicked the alien's legs, making him stumble. They faced each other again, both breathing hard. Corvin could have called for help. He could have used his weapons, but he did not. Why do you fight us? Corvin asked. The Empire is too strong. You cannot win. We fight because we have no choice, Taeyang said. Freedom is worth dying for. Corvin looked at the human for a long moment. Then he stepped aside. Go. Escape pods are 2 decks up. I will not stop you. Why? Because you earned it. You fought well. You wounded us. You deserve to survive this battle. Corvin paused. But know this. The war is not over. We will meet again, Taeyang nodded. He understood. Warriors could respect each other even as enemies. He ran toward the escape pods. Behind him, alarms continued to blare. The coordination matrix was offline. The virus was spreading through the ship's systems. The Voidborn's perfect tactical network was crashing. Taeyang reached an escape pod and climbed inside. He launched it just as more aliens arrived. The pod shot away from the ship, accelerating toward Earth. G1, I am clear. Heading home, thank God. We were worried. The virus is working perfectly. Their entire tactical network is down. We can see their positions now. Their communications are scrambled. They are operating blind. Good. Tell Commander Do-hyun to launch his attack now. Hit them while they are confused. On Earth, Commander Do-hyun received the signal. He smiled. Finally a real battle. All forces attack! Across the planet, human military forces launched coordinated strikes against known Voidborn positions. Aircraft attacked. Ground forces moved in. The aliens, without their tactical coordination, were scattered and vulnerable. Valreth realized what had happened too late. They broke our network. How did they do this? Someone infiltrated the inevitability, an officer reported. They uploaded a virus into the coordination matrix. The human, Valreth said. Taeyang! Around her, alerts were coming in. 3 Voidborn teams had been destroyed by human forces. 2 more were pinned down and requesting help. The mission was falling apart. Fall back to the rally point, Valreth ordered. We regroup and reassess. What about the mission? Thixis asked. The mission has changed, Valreth said coldly. Now we hunt the human. Taeyang has become too dangerous to ignore. We kill him first. Then we complete our original objectives. Taeyang's escape pod crashed in the Pacific Ocean. A recovery team pulled him out. He was barely conscious, wounded and exhausted. But he was alive. Captain Hyun was there when they brought him back to base. You did it. The alien network is down. We are winning. Not yet, Taeyang said weakly. The Voidborn are still dangerous. Wounded animals fight the hardest. Then we will be ready, Hyun said. Rest now. You have earned it. 3 weeks after the ship infiltration, the war had reached its final stage. Human forces had killed or captured most of the Voidborn squad. Only 3 remained. Valreth, Thixis, and Celera. They were wounded, angry, and desperate. Taeyang had recovered from his injuries. His shoulder still hurt, but he could fight. And now he was ready to end this. He had sent a message to the remaining Voidborn, telling them where to find him. The DMZ between North and South Korea, a place of historic division now united against a common enemy. Why there? Captain Hyun asked. She was with Taeyang in the command vehicle, heading toward the location. Why not choose a place with more advantages? The DMZ is neutral ground, Taeyang explained. Neither side has advantage. It is a fair fight, and Valreth will not be able to resist. Her pride demands it. This is not like you, Hyun said. You always use tricks and traps. Now you want a fair fight? I have used enough tricks, Taeyang said quietly. The aliens are beaten. This is about ending it with dignity, for both sides. The DMZ was covered in old mines and barbed wire. Decades of military presence had left their mark. But both Koreas had agreed to clear a section for this final battle. They understood what it meant. The future of Earth would be decided here. Taeyang stood alone in the clearing. The sun was setting. Red light covered the landscape. He checked his weapons one last time, rifle, pistol, knife, grenades. He was ready. The Voidborn arrived as darkness fell. They walked across the field slowly, weapons ready. Valreth in the center, Thixis on the left. Solar on the right. They looked like death itself approaching. Human, Valreth called out. You wanted this meeting. Here we are. I wanted to give you a chance, Taeyang replied. Leave Earth, return to your empire. Tell them that humans are not worth conquering. Valreth laughed, but there was no humor in it. We cannot leave. If we return without completing our mission, we will be executed. The Empire does not tolerate failure. Then we end this here, Taeyang said. One way or another, the battle began. Thixus charged forward, his massive frame shaking the ground. He fired his heavy weapons, but Taeyang was already moving. The human ran toward an old bunker, using it for cover. Silara reached into Taeyang's mind, trying to paralyze him with fear, but his training held. He had spent years preparing for psychic attacks. His mind was disciplined, compartmentalized. She could not break through. Impossible, Silara hissed. No one resists me. Taeyang threw a smoke grenade. White fog filled the battlefield. Thixus fired blindly into the smoke, destroying everything. But Taeyang was not there. He had circled around. From a hidden position, Taeyang fired. The shot hit Thixus in a weak point in his armor. The massive alien roared in pain and rage. He turned toward Taeyang's position and fired everything he had. The bunker exploded, but Taeyang was already gone, running through the darkness. He led Thixus into an old minefield. The mines had been there for decades, forgotten but still active. Thixus stepped on 3 mines simultaneously. The explosions were massive. When the smoke cleared, the giant alien was down, his armor shattered, his body broken. One down, Taeyang whispered. But Silara and Valreth were still dangerous. The telepath tried again to break into his mind. This time she was more aggressive. Taeyang felt pressure building in his skull. Images flashed before his eyes, memories, fears. He stumbled, his concentration breaking. Silara smiled. I have you now, a shot rang out. Silara's head snapped back. She fell to the ground, a hole in her forehead. Captain Hyun stood on a ridge 500 meters away, a sniper rifle in her hands. I said I would help, Hyun said through the communication channel. You are not alone. Now it was just Taeyang and Valreth. The human and the executrix. They faced each other across the battlefield. All the tricks were gone. All the traps used. This would be a direct fight. Valreth drew her energy blades. You are skilled, human. You have killed warriors that have conquered worlds, but now no more tricks. No more running! Just you and me. Taeyang drew his knife. It was just metal, nothing special. But in his hands it was deadly. I am ready, they fought. Valreth was faster, stronger, with centuries of combat experience. Her 4 arms struck from multiple angles at once. Her blades cut through the air with deadly precision. But Taeyang was adaptable. When she struck high, he went low. When she expected him to retreat, he advanced. He used the terrain, rolling behind rocks, using elevation changes, making her work for every strike. Valreth's blade cut his arm. Taeyang's knife found a gap in her armor. They both bled. They both hurt. But neither would stop. Why do you fight so hard? Valreth demanded. Why not accept the Empire? We bring order, peace, structure. You bring slavery, Taeyang replied. We choose freedom, even if it means fighting impossible battles. Freedom is chaos, Valreth said. Order is better. Then we will choose chaos, Taeyang said, because it is our choice to make. They clashed again. This time Taeyang changed his strategy. Instead of avoiding her strength, he used it. When she struck with all 4 arms, he stepped inside her reach. Her blades could not angle to hit him there. His knife found her throat. It was not a clean kill. Nothing about this fight had been clean. But it was effective. Valreth fell to her knees. Her weapons dropped from her hands. She looked up at Taeyang with something like respect in her dying eyes. You fight like demons, she whispered. The Empire will send more, stronger, better prepared. Let them come, Taeyang said. We will teach them all the same lesson. Earth is not for conquering. Valreth smiled slightly. Perhaps. But know this, human. You have made an enemy of an empire that spans 1,000 worlds. They will not forget. They will not forgive. Good, Taeyang said. We will not forget either. And we will be ready. Valreth's eyes closed. The last of the Void-born death squad was dead. Taeyang stood alone on the battlefield. His body hurt. His clothes were torn and bloody. But he was alive. Earth was safe. For now, Captain Hyun ran to him. You did it. They are all dead. Not all, Taeyang said. Corvin escaped. He is still out there. One alien against Earth? He will not survive long. I do not think he wants to fight anymore, Taeyang said. He let me escape the ship. He showed mercy. Perhaps he learned something from us. Military helicopters arrived, landing in the clearing. Commander Do-hyun stepped out, followed by Director Minji. They looked at the battlefield. 3 dead aliens, 1 exhausted human. It is over, Minji said quietly. You won. We won, Taeyang corrected. All of Earth, everyone who fought. Everyone who resisted. This was not one person's victory. Dohyun walked to Taeyang and saluted. You have my respect, operative. You showed us a new way to fight, a way that works. The war is not over, Taeyang said. Valrath was right. The Empire will send more. We need to be ready. We will be, Minji said. You have given us time. Time to prepare. Time to train. Time to spread your tactics to others who resist the Empire. Above them, the stars were coming out. Somewhere up there, the Galactic Empire ruled. Somewhere up there, news of the Voidborn's defeat was spreading. Somewhere up there, other enslaved worlds were hearing about Earth's resistance. And somewhere up there, Corvin was reporting to his superiors, telling them that humans were different, that they did not fight like anyone else, that underestimating them was a fatal mistake. Taeyang looked up at the stars. He knew this was just the beginning. But for the first time, he felt hope. Earth had proven it could survive. Now it needed to prove it could win. What happens now? Hyun asked. Now we prepare for the next fight, Taeyang said. And we teach others how to fight like we do. The Empire expects strength. We will give them something they cannot predict. Something they cannot prepare for. A shadow, Hyun said. Understanding. Yes, Taeyang said. A shadow that spreads across the galaxy. Teaching others to resist. To fight smart instead of fair. To survive against impossible odds, Minji smiled. The shadow protocol worked. Now we make it the shadow doctrine, not just for Earth but for everyone who wants to be free. They left the battlefield together. Behind them, the bodies of the Voidborn lay in the dirt. The most feared killers in the galaxy, defeated by a single human and the world that supported him. The Galactic Empire had sent their best. Earth had responded with a shadow, and the shadow had won.